My name is Dr. Ravi Margasahayam, and I'm NASA's Global Space Ambassador and also Solar System Ambassador for NASA JPL. And my hobby right now, or my passion, is to go around the world giving lectures and mentor the students around the world, inspiring the next generation of engineers and scientists so that they can really do better than what we have done in the past. Well, aerospace engineering means studying everything about aerodynamics and flight and other things. So I got a master's degree from engineering, aerospace engineering from Illinois Institute of Technology in Chicago, and that led me to work for Boeing company, designing helicopters and airplanes and stuff like that. And that opportunity led me to work for NASA later on. So in NASA, I launched about 100 space shuttle rockets, launching 700 astronauts to International Space Station, built the Hubble Space Telescope, worked on the International Space Station, building it, and then making sure that we work with the payloads, which are basically Hubble Space Telescope like elements we sent it to the space basically.
Roles in NASA.
Yeah, what happened was when I came to NASA, I had done some work on engineering and vibration on gear designs for helicopters. And one of the requirements they had was on the launch pad when the shuttle takes off or the rocket takes off, there is 190 decibels of sound generated. And the sound is an energy, just like wind energy or water energy, earthquake energy. It can come and hit you, and the structures on the launch pad and the rocket and things like Hubble Space Telescope, they can get damaged. So my job was to be a vibroacoustics or sound and vibration engineer to measure the sound and see what kind of sound load it represents, so I can design the structures on the launch pad to sustain that amount of load. So that was my first job at NASA. And then I became a systems engineer, putting the entire shuttle together and moving it slowly to the launch pad and getting it ready for launch. And then after that, I became a safety engineer. So these are all connected together.
Why NASA?
Always wanted to become a rocket engineer, sort of, or aerospace engineer. So I never thought that I would work for NASA at all. But as a 10-year-old kid living in Kabul, I came back to Mumbai, India, and I saw a Bollywood movie which sort of made my passion to turn to flying. But unfortunately, my parents didn't allow me to fly. So I said, okay, if I can't fly, then I'll become an engineer so I can make others fly. And that's what led me to come to America and be an aerospace engineer.
Why haven't you become an astronaut?
Because I came late to America, and it was very hard for me to get into NASA programs to be an astronaut. So astronaut is one of the most dangerous jobs in the world. It requires a lot of education, which I had already, but I didn't have the experience. And as I said, I came as an immigrant to America, and it takes a long time for you to become a citizen. And then after that, you have to work, get into NASA. It was very late on my part. So that's one of the reasons. I still would love to go to Moon or Mars myself. 700 astronauts I'm friends with, and one of the best astronauts I have friends with is Pamela Melroy. She's the one who really sort of gave a kick in my back to become the best in the world in whatever I'm doing. I tell you that good things come to good people. So when we had the space shuttles retired in 2011, we had 3 space shuttles left. One was Discovery, it went to Washington Smithsonian Museum. Endeavour went to California State Science Museum, and then Atlantis was sent to Kennedy Space Center. That's where our home base is. And we built a $100 million museum, and my picture is on the wall with Atlantis. I'm part of the history, living history and living legacy. So 3 million people come and visit it, and I'm so proud that my picture is on the wall to represent that I was also part of the space shuttle program one day.
What can be improved?
They will be faster because we'll be working on different rockets, different high-speed rockets, because journey to Mars is 6 to 9 months, and we have to have faster and faster rockets. So right now, the fastest we can go is about 50 to 60,000 kilometers per hour. We need to go at least 200,000 kilometers per hour. Different types of fuels, different types of engines. We are working with solar electric propulsion engines. These engines have exhaust velocities of 200,000 kilometers, but they are still slow. So we have to come up with maybe solar electric with some other kind of chemical propulsion to push them faster and faster.
How do I become an astronaut?
You have to get good education first, and you have to have very high amount of self-esteem that you are the best in the world and dare on everything. So you have to take a lot of risks, have no fear, and think, believe in yourself, and dream, and do it. Just do it. Dare. Daring is very important. So we do daring things.
Can you spot future talents?
And I've always in a group I can figure out who is the best guy who's listening to you and asking the tough question. And when he comes near you and wants to take a picture with you, then I know he's passionate about what I'm doing, and I've inspired him already. And I've mentored many students from Denmark itself. 20 years ago, I got 30 students from Denmark come in. Now they have one person, Thomas Pedersen. He became the chief pilot and also pilot for Air Greenland. So my dream was to fly up about 50 years ago. So when I went to Aalborg, he took me in a small plane and I held the stick for a few minutes. So he let me fly. So he made my dream come true, And that's the legacy I leave behind, that people will remember that Dr. Ravi came to Denmark or Norway or Germany or France and helped us to become what we are today. And that's my legacy.
Future work.
My plan is to inspire many people around the world, so that I lost 20 years of my life being very shy, introvert, and afraid of people, running away from people and mixing with people and all that. So I want to change the mindset of the people around the world, saying that I want them to be the best in the world and not to be shy and not to be introvert. And so that's means we have to have very high self-esteem about yourself, that even though you may not be the best, you start thinking that I'm the best, then it will happen one day. How did I lose the shyness? Well, I got mentored by many astronauts and people like that, I worked with many astronauts and I got awards from NASA. Slowly I changed my mindset. So by changing my mindset and getting help from people like Pamela Melroy and some of the other astronauts, I changed my mind slowly. And then I became a VIP tour guide, touring kings and queens and ambassadors and 4-star NATO ministers. And then I started giving lectures like this to small groups first, and then bigger groups and bigger groups. Then I went to Oxford and Cambridge, and now I've gone to 60 countries around the world giving lectures. So.